Throughout my first ever year, I beat 24 demons in Geometry Dash, and I think it's my job to go over the entire year and see which ones are the hardest. I think everyone saw this coming, but in 24th place comes the Nightmare. Now there's one good thing about this, and it's that this was not my first easy demon. It's actually that easy, it shouldn't even be classed as an easy demon. I hate this level too much, so let's go to number 23. At number 23, we have the first Robotop demon, which is Club Step. Now I'm definitely going to get a lot of arguments, but in my personal opinion, this level is really easy. However, I'll give some small critiques about the hard parts. This UFO is really overglazed and not even close to the hardest part. However, at number 22, we have a personal level that not many people know about called Nothing. This level is pretty relaxed and pretty easy to play, especially for me who's beaten an insane demon. And fun fact, this is the only level I beat in under 100 attempts. Following Ship as the primary game mode, this level is only Ship. In my opinion, this is the most flukeable, however most choke pointer level there is. With some parts moving up and down, it's really easy to just randomly die. At number 20, I have a level that I actually don't like to play, which is Ultra Paracosm. Not only is it super unbalanced in the ship, however the wave is so bad to play and look at. You won't ever catch me wanting to beat this again. At number 19, we have another Nine Circles level, but this time it being Butterfly Effect. This level has a very decent ship, however the true difficulty comes from the wave. Like seriously, how are you gonna side read this on an easy demon? Another one that I'm pretty sure no one knows about is called Red Alert. The reason why it's pretty high is because the beginning is pretty easy, however the other parts in the segment are just difficult to play. However, this is still a pretty free easy demon to go for. Now for another well-known demon we have Ratio Circles. By the way, Wave is one of my worst game modes, so don't ask why I have so many 9 circle levels. This level actually includes some pretty difficult wave gameplay, so it took a while and it's the reason why it's this high. Back to the Robotop levels, in number 15 we have Fear of Everything 2. There's not really a lot to say, however the 40% mark is definitely the hardest part. 80% isn't even that bad. Up next is Death Moon, which is surprisingly the first extra long level I've ever beat. Now the reason why it's so high is because of how long it is. There's also some memory parts which are scattered around which are also really painful to learn. Up next we have Speed of Light. This first wave is kind of awkward, however it gets consistent over time. However, these bull sections are the reason why it's so high on the list. Now the hardest easy demon is obviously Deadlock, and since I'm not wave carried, these single sections are the hardest part in any Robotop level. Throughout the whole level there's some hard straight fly, difficult wave, and also some memory, but coincidentally this correlates to the easiest medium demon on the list. The easiest demon is none other than Living Open, which is a Deadlock's copy. Now the reason why it's just a little bit higher than Deadlock's is because some parts are buffed and also some parts are really particle heavy. I have never died at 30% on regular Deadlock's, unlike this level. Scraping the top 10 is a level named Dren. This is a fast paced medium demon with some pretty tight straight fly. There's also some pretty hard green orbs as well, but they're not something to look out for. Overall I think this is a pretty decent medium demon. Up next in the medium demon category, we have the coolest level on this list. B is the classical medium demon where all beginners usually start here. However, you still can't underestimate it because the 4x speed ball is a nightmare. Up next we have the hardest medium demon, which is Verity. However, for me beating this after beating a hard demon, this level, especially the front half, was a piece of cake. The reason why it's so high is because of the ending and this stall here. Seriously, this ship at the end really makes you think you're playing a hard demon. One level which is actually surprisingly a hard demon is this level named Artificial Powder. I even have some words of wisdom on how I feel about this level. This stupid level is so bad, and the honest reason behind this is because the last stall is so hard. Like seriously, the first half of the level is a complete joke compared to the end. Up next we have a very popular hard demon, which is Jawbreaker. This level has a very underrated ship segment, as well as its wave starting at 34%. This level is easier but not by much by number 5. At number 5 we have a beginner of trends, which is 9 circles. For me this level felt extremely underwhelming because I beat this way after I beat an insane demon. However, this level still includes some really difficult parts like the ship and of course the wave. Up next we have another cool level. And you 9 circle nerds will probably say, "Oh, this is easier than 9 circles." No, it's not. These wave segments are complete monsters. As much as they're really fun to play, the levels are just extremely hard. How did we manage to get another Deadlocked version? I think my obsession with Deadlocked needs to be studied. However, this level by far is harder than any of the hard demons I've beat. Do I really have to explain why this level is so difficult? At number 2 we have an insane demon on the list, which is Poltergeist. These first segments are extremely easy, however the first part of a wave is extraordinarily hard. Then it goes back to easy gameplay at around 40%, so it's not all that bad. And at number 1 place goes to Supersonic. This was the first insane demon I did, and it took over 13,000 attempts to beat. Some of these segments are really easy, however some of these segments can be extremely choke pointy. Overall I think this level is extremely fun and I think you should try and go for it.